Somebody call the nurse because Ryan Murphy's out and at it again. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Eric and today we're talking about FX's newest TV show, The Beauty, or as I like to call it, The Substance Knockoff. It is an adaptation of a 6-volume graphic novel by Jeremy Haun and Jason A. Hurley for Image Comics, so it came before The Substance, but I'm still gonna call it The Substance Knockoff. And the best word to describe this show is derivative. The show follows 2 FBI detectives investigating a supposed viral outbreak with explosive consequences. No, they literally explode. At the same time, we follow a hitman targeting everyone involved to cap off the spread of the infection, and once again, Ryan is doing too much. I was really hyped for this because it is a body horror TV show, and Ryan Murphy is quite decent with original horror ideas. See American Horror Story, the first few seasons at least. But after watching 3 episodes, all I can think of is I've seen this before. There's a lot of recognizable elements from other TV shows and movies that seem to have been reworked, all wrapped up in his signature style of witty dialogue and campness. And for the most part, I will say, it works, for me at least. I'm looking forward to the next episode. The elements of body horror actually work quite well, and there's an investigation aspect to the story, but then there's a lot of fluff. A lot of the dialogue seems forced, like social commentary on unattainable beauty standards and our desire to be skinny minis, but it's thrown in there so inorganically that it just leaves you waiting for the fun part to come back. It also drags at times and juggles a lot of different styles and tones that it seems like the series doesn't know what it wants to be, whether it wants to be a romantic drama, police thriller, a body horror, or all at the same time, and it ends up being a messy, convoluted, derivative, unimaginative mess. But it's fun. Guys, it's so much fun. The opening of episode 1 and episode 3, hang it in the Louvre, put it on display for the whole world to see. It should be mandatory in schools, starting the day with Bella Hadid having an absolute freak out, and just wait for it, because it's really fun. But overall, it's conflicting because, again, it has really great elements, but then they throw in Ashton Kutcher in there. People were scared. Oh my god. People ran out of the room. I ran out of the room. Ooh, this man is like a walking ick, right? He's ick personified. Him and his wife, both in the bin. There's no bin big enough for these apologists. And Ashton's casting aside, which is enough to throw the whole thing in the trash, it's dumping everything in the kitchen sink into a big bowl of spaghetti, and then you mix it up, you throw it at the wall, and whatever sticks is what we get. And I'll take it. I mean, I loved All's Fair for how god-awful dog shit it was. This is better. Like, objectively better. That said, not everybody wants to waste their time, and honestly, don't give them your money. I'll watch it so you don't have to, and I'll recap it in a very summarized way. And I'll also include the fun stuff so you don't miss out on the visuals. Speaking of visuals, the practical effects are really good, and there are some shots that are quite cool. But most of the cinematography is kind of ass. But nonetheless, it is a fun show, so buckle up, get yourself a snack, a drink, a joint. Whatever floats your boat. Also, subscribe down below if you haven't already. Be rude to start the breakdown if you haven't. So do that now. It's a threat. Thank you. So the show is about a sexually transmitted virus that transforms people into conventionally attractive people. For example, if you're a woman and you catch this type of clap, then you literally transform into, for example, Bella Hadid. And this isn't one of those shows where they have a conventionally attractive actor wear a lot of prosthetics and then remove the prosthetics and ta-da, transformation done, like, for example, Gwyneth Paltrow in Shallow Hal. No, this is a movie that hires 2 different actors, the before and the after. It is gross, though. It's real nasty. And it's not the gore that's nasty. It's the slime. Ugh, ooh, oh, the cocoon. The episode starts and we're at a fashion show for Balenciaga. The catwalk is a dirt road and the models are geared up with skin-tight leather, giving us the stiffest catwalks you could conjure. If you're watching RuPaul's Drag Race, think of Discord Adams. And the protagonist of this opening scene is none other than Bella Hadid herself, continuing Ryan's tradition of hiring just about anyone who has any social media presence ever. Yes, well, yes, he does that a lot. It also signals Bella as the desired beauty aesthetics, which I personally love, because Bella, the person in real life, comes from a family of fashion models and has access to wealth and all the treatments and all of the doctor's appointments needed to get this look, this physique, right? So if we're gonna have actors portraying unattainable beauty standards like the end product of a virus, then you should definitely hire actors that have had work done. Also, this is not to knock off anyone who's had work done. God knows I've had work done. We've all had work done. If you want it, do it. If you can afford it. Bella is stomping this mud as Firestarter plays, and the whole sequence screamed Charlie's Angels full throttle. The motocross catwalk, the leather outfits, and literally the same song playing. And you know what? If you're going to honor something from the 2000s, let it be Charlie's Angels or Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Arguably the most 2000s movie ever made, and both masterpieces, really, if we think about it. Yeah. So Bella shows up, and she looks like dog shit. She looks like her mom after hearing Gigi eating a cookie in her room. She's sweating. Her vision is getting blurry, but she was raised to never stop working, not even for food. So she stomps that damn catwalk like an angry toddler looking around for the only thing she's ever been allowed to consume. Water. I'm sorry, this is so mean. Voss water, not to be confused by peasant water, which you can get anywhere else. She sees that water, and she is a woman on a mission. She snatches the bottle of water out of that woman's hands, pours it all over her face, and then snaps the woman's neck. Bella is angry. She steals more water and throws another woman like a wet wipe. She's strong. She exits the building and shields her eyes from the flashes of 2 cameras. No, it's not me, I'm Mrs. Iglesias. They don't stop, so she attacks them, and whoever did the fighting choreography of this TV show, I know what you are. She hops on a motorcycle and takes off. Firestarter is still playing, and she's driving recklessly through the streets of Paris, and I just hope she finds Emily and runs her over, put her out of her misery. We've had enough. But listen, the bike scene is not actually bad. You can tell that the show has a good team behind it. Aside from whoever did the fighting choreography, that was really bad. She's riding furiously, grunting, deranged, unhinged, when she's suddenly hit by a car. Whee! This beginning of the episode has me hooked. Because the camera pans to Bella, and the practical effects team really went off, okay? The leg... like, her body's all twisted, and her leg, you can see. But then she gets up, and she puts her whole weight on top of that mangled leg. And then she starts walking on it, and I'm like, Bella, look down. Your leg is not okay. Your leg is not okay. Bella continues furiously snatching water from people's hands, pouring it over herself, drinking it, beating up anyone who dares to talk to her, or be in her way, or exist near her, really. She is an equal opportunist. I'm gonna beat you up. All while this snatched legend eats her meal quietly, presumably knowing what the heck has gone into Miss Hadid. She's now in the toilet, desperate for more water, and she's fuming. No, like there's literal steam coming off of her. She's so hot, guys. Water is literally evaporating around her. And she is so pissed at how hot she is. Like, ugh, girl, same. Like, I get so mad when I look at myself in the mirror and, like, did God have to bless me with this much? No, it's unfair. Finally, a police officer shows up and he points his gun at her. She looks at him and she sees crumbs of cake on his jacket and storms in his direction. No cake eater shall ever know peace near this family. And he shoots her, but she keeps walking, so I'm guessing now she's got superpowers. She's all X-Men and shit. She's an icon. And he's really dumb because he shoots her once, she keeps walking, and he doesn't shoot her again. I guess he's not American. She snatches the gun out of his hand and beats him to a pulp with it, and then walks outside to find the place surrounded by police. And Ryan got this shot of her. And then Bella literally explodes. Y'all. The spontaneous combustion, guys, reminded me of the movie Spontaneous, where kids start blowing up for no reason. This opening sequence, chef's kiss, 5 stars, no notes. I was hooked the whole time, which is why this next scene felt like a slap and a Xanax that put us all to sleep. We meet FBI agents assigned to investigate a viral outbreak they're now calling Catwalk Carnage. But before we even get to any of that, we find out that they are both sleeping together. They're like friends with benefits outside of work, and they have one of those long-ass conversations that serve as like social commentary, but like, who cares? Who gives a shit? It's 10 minutes. 10 whole long ass minutes just for us to find out that they are sleeping together. They're keeping it casual. She had a breast augmentation because she felt insecure about her chest, and now she loves every bit of her body. And we find out that he loves scars. He's all about the cracks, and he tells a story of a guy who used to fix plates and highlight the cracks with gold. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Give us action. So 10 minutes later, we find out that several international agencies have all been summoned to investigate these spontaneous combustions. Now, our FBI agents, they're called Cooper, played by Evan Peters, and Jordan, played by Rebecca Hall, and they're briefed on what's happened. There have been 3 explosions, one in Berlin, another in London, and now one in Paris. There are no connections between them all other than they all started a very successful modeling career about 2 years prior to the explosions, and before that, none of them had a social media presence at all. The agents speak to the autopsy gal, coroner doctor, the person that analyzes the remains, and because they're in Paris, they made a choice to have our actors speak French, and then they speak Italian, and this whole scene. Evan and Rebecca are competing for who sounds worse in French, and the winner is Evan.
Il ne s'agit pas d'une combustion humaine spontanée.
C'est quoi la température actuelle du corps?
Maybe this is why everybody speaks English. Yeah. So Cooper and Jordan speak to this coroner, and they find out that the remains are really hot. Like hot enough to liquefy and carbonize internal organs. This person burned from the inside out. Scientifically, it's very impossible to describe why a body would literally be 175 degrees hours after exploding. It's unspecified if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, but either way, 175 is a lot, considering the average body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, aka 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The body was so hot that it melted this lady's tools. It melted the metal. That's crazy. And the worst part is that for this to be explained scientifically, she needs to have like swallowed a bomb or something, I don't know, insanely hot that would heat her up from the inside, which still wouldn't explain why the body is still so hot. But they did find an unidentified virus present in the body, which they later determined to be the cause of all this. It's transmitted through bodily secretion, and they call it the fucked up baby of HIV and rabies, though it's neither. Furthermore, when the dental records come back from all of the people that exploded, the people they belong to look nothing like the models that actually exploded. And several people in these models' orbit have died of natural causes in the past 18 months. In the words of our agents, très intéressant. Concomitantly, I just hate myself for using that word, but I'm feeling pretentious. So, concomitantly, we meet an incel named Jeremy, played by Damien from Mean Girls of 2024, and honestly, yes, bitch. Range. He spends his time in his mom's basement beating his meat to cam girls, and the stylization of this scene I think was really fantastic because it looks and feels grimy, sticky, smelly, nasty, and it's just really depressing and sad and kind of pathetic. Not kind of, very. So next time you're arguing with an anonymous moron online, just imagine this is what you're wasting your time on. Desperate to get with girls, he visits a doctor at the suggestion of some guy in an online forum, and the doctor looks like this. Okay. And the convo is very red pill. He tells Jeremy it's not his fault that he can't get women, but his parents, because their genetics didn't blend well, and he can turn him into a Chad, because the only difference between him and a Chad is a few inches of bone in the right places, some strong features. So he has a procedure, and it cuts to him looking like this. He looks like someone who would go on botched and be turned away from surgery because he's taking things too far. Oh, Jeremy, they did you so wrong. Nonetheless, he gets approached by a group of girls who pretend to like him so they can ditch him with their bar tab. So while he pukes in the bathroom, they leave.
But I look good!
In a very moderate response, Jeremy goes back to the surgeon's office, kills a bunch of people, and threatens to kill the doctor, who convinces him to try this very special treatment that will definitely make you happy. He takes him to a motel room and calls this bad bitch, who is there to have sex with Jeremy. An incel's dream come true, some may say. After the deed is done, Jeremy wakes up and he is sweating. He looks like me emerging from bed when I have the flu. Look at him absolutely dripping, melting away. Ooh, you're melting away. You're melting away. He's absolutely parched, drinks a shit ton of waters, and then suddenly the transformation begins. Y'all, the beauty wants to be the substance so bad. And you know what? I actually enjoy the transformation. Yes. He starts contorting, cracking sounds, making it all more unsettling. Then his teeth start falling off. His body starts transforming. He peels his face off. Totally unnecessary, but, you know, it was cute. And then it cuts to him in a cocoon. Why do they make it that color? It's tacky and low budget, but also not low budget because it looks good. And the person that emerges from that sack is a different actor. And I don't know how it must feel to be the actor that's hired to play the before, because the before has a lot less runtime to be played. So, like, kudos for hiring two people instead of one, but then one of them gets like credited for 9 episodes and the other only gets to be there for one. The inclusive show that'll hire you if you're ugly and then dump you after an episode and bring in someone hotter. Yeah. Also, someone hotter. It really completely depends on your tastes, because I feel like we need to ditch the idea that slimmer bodies are more attractive than bigger bodies, just because there's a lot of people out there who would disagree with that statement. So it's all subjective, but in this show, in this world, slim is best. It's like we're bringing back the heroin chic look from the 90s, you know, when supermodels admitted that their diets consisted of nothing but coffee and Coke. The drug, not the drink. Yup. And then just this long ass unnecessary sequence of him just moving around with all that sticky, slimy jelly that he's got from the cocoon. But he looks at himself in the mirror and he could not be happier. Cut to Cooper and Jordan, who are sent to Venice, Italy to investigate a ritualistic murder where the victim has tested positive for the virus. And the victim is none other than the dominatrix that was just in Indianapolis giving Jeremy the nasty. The clap, if you will. How she went from Indianapolis all the way to Venice, then had time to record a video and post it as she was being chased, and then she was found, and then she was murdered, and then her body was discovered, then the police was called, and then these agents were called, and they had time to travel there. Nothing in the show hints that we're watching two separate timelines. In fact, the show very much implies that everything is happening at the same time, concomitantly, if you will. So we're not going to question flaws in logic. We're just going to move on to episode 2 because this is fun. We're having fun. We need to have fun. Episode 2, we meet Antonio, aka the assassin, who is eliminating people infected with the virus at the behest of his presumed boss. And the boss is played by Ashton. Why does he keep working? Like, it's been so long since I've seen this person on my screen. Why did we have to bring him back? Leave him in obscurity. Like, why do we keep doing this? Like, But for the sake of the plot, Ashy Face over here plays Byron Frost, aka The Corporation, and we have arrived at "You're doing too much, Ryan." Antonio eliminates someone who stole the formula and some stabilizers from Byron, designated for him and his wealthy friends. Ah, yes, the social commentary, elitism in the beauty industry. You know, you can achieve these beautiful bodies if you can afford to go to the doctor or get on Ozempic or get all of these treatments. No, we're joking. You just have to eat right and work out and use 5,000 products on your face, another 10,000 on your body. Then you starve yourself every so often. Do like water fasts of a week, you know, a week where you just drink water and then you try not to kill yourself, because beauty is pain. You know, if being hot and sexy was cheap, everybody would be it. Yes, yes, yes. This is so clever. Cooper and Jordan are assigned to return to New York because a senior editor at Vogue exploded in their offices, which serves as the opening scene of episode 3, which I said, hang it in the Louvre, we'll get there. But before we get to the fun stuff, more boring shit. Cooper and Jordan talk about their relationship and on making it more serious. There's tension and unspoken words, but he's very nihilistic and talks about how everything that we do from the moment we hit puberty until we die is about sex, and she's not so much of a fan of that idea, and then he eventually leaves her so she can hook up with a man that's been staring at her for the past hour. And then two things happen. One, Cooper is attacked by two men in the streets of Venice, and they fight on this bridge. Now they're reheating Mission Impossible nachos. The choreography is back, the fighting choreo, and once again, whoever choreographed it, I know what you are. And now we all know what you are. He's chased through the streets of Venice and it really drags a bit. My guess is they wanted to maximize the filming on location that they somehow managed to get. I mean, fucking hell, honestly, it's impressive. One thing Ryan's gonna secure is a fucking budget. They're flying all these actors and these filming crews across Europe unless it's cheaper, because European countries love to give like grants to filming crews so they can get some good exposition. Cooper does eventually kill both men, and then he is taken into quarantine because both attackers tested positive for the virus, and Cooper's been all over them. And while this was happening, Jordan hooked up with the man from the bar. He then watches her sleep before leaving the room, and we get this spectacular transition. She wakes up looking like shit. She's infected, and the transformation starts pretty quickly, which, Jeremy had time to order room service and drink a bunch of water, but she goes straight into it. I don't know, maybe the timelines of the transformation aren't really lining up. Like, how long does it actually take for it to go into effect? And as she was transforming and contorting around in this room like an acrobat, I couldn't help but think, what the hell is gonna happen to her? Because, like, whoever dare say that Rebecca Hall needs to change anything to be beautiful needs a brain scan. Like, this woman is gorgeous. Like, she is stunning. If anything, I reverted back to the conversation she had with Cooper in episode 1, talking about how she got breast augmentation because she felt insecure about that. So maybe the body that comes out of the cocoon is going to be her with just massive natural tits. But no, the person that emerges is simply younger. And that's when it hit me. Of course. Aging is disgusting. Ugh, it's gross. Ew. Ugh. I can't even believe that I said Rebecca was attractive. Like, she is over 25 in real life. Of course they were gonna replace her with someone younger, because, you know, ugly old people don't deserve work. So anyone who's ugly or anyone who's old or anyone who doesn't fit with our beauty standards is gonna have a really, really short role in the beauty. So she's obviously horrified, but we don't actually know what happens to her because by the time Cooper is taken into quarantine, they're all looking for her and nobody can find her. Probably because they're not looking for the right person, but I do wonder what she's doing. We don't find out in episode 3, but episode 3 has another glorious opening. This one might even be better than the first one because we get to see 2 really annoying people get it. So we got Ben Platt and Meghan Trainor. Y'all, Ryan will just hire anyone who shows up, really. He's like, casting call open to anyone who wants to work. Megan was fucking rushing. They're in the Vogue cafeteria, and they're having a bitchy conversation like the characters always have in Ryan's show. Harper Rose joins them, the one who exploded, and she looks rough. She is sweaty, she's running hot, but she's looking at the positives. It's all good. I've lost another 5 pounds. And Megan...
Jealous, cough on me.
Everybody's just shedding.
These are the moments that make it worth it, guys. This is it. Can you imagine? Cough on me? Oh. You're crazy. Nasty. You know what? That might be more disgusting than Bella standing on that damaged leg. Harper eventually snaps, and much like Bella in episode 1, starts snatching water from people's hands and starts attacking anyone who dares to exist around her. My favorite one is when she throws Megan out the window, out of this skyscraper like a wet wipe. We love a wet wipe on this channel, what can I say? They're easy to throw. But better than that is a woman literally gets thrown out the fucking window, and people just keep recording around her. They're like, yeah, hopefully I'm next, you know? But she doesn't throw anyone else. Instead, she explodes. And the projectile hits a lot of people, including Ben's eye. And he lets out a perfectly pitched scream. You can take Ben Platt out of Dear Evan Hansen, but you can't stop the spirit of Evan Hansen from possessing Ben from time to time and giving us a beautiful musical moment, of course. Back to the assassin, Antonio, who has a penchant for sadistic murders. Very hostile. Can you say derivative? He's sent by his boss, Shit Kutchstein, to pay a visit to the surgeon who helped Jeremy. And why is this face on a yacht? Like, did Ryan really want to give this ass wipe on heels a holiday? I'm gonna have to bleep so much of this video. It's not my fault, okay? They shouldn't have hired more on Central over here. We do find out that these people seem to be immortal. Antonio, for example, is 65 despite looking like he's in his 30s because he took an earlier, more purified version of the virus straight from the lab. Clapface gross face is here with Siempre Viva Isabella Rossellini, and it's heavily implied they're married, and I guess crap turd breath over here took the virus, and she didn't. And also, she hates his guts. Like, probably more than I do. She says that she fantasizes every night about his death. Honestly, you better work. Antonio tracks down Jeremy after torturing and killing the doctor, and Jeremy does fight back, but is eventually overpowered and forced to call back the girl he just slept with unprotected. Are straight people really this willy-nilly about people they sleep with? Like, not a condom in sight. Everyone's just raw dogging each other. Like, y'all are not scared of like pregnancies or STDs? Someone explain it to me. Jeremy calls her and he's real freaky. Like, even with a gun to his head, he's still trying to seduce her over the phone. He said, I have a fever only that ass can cure, with a gun pointed to his head. The first thing he asks is, what are you wearing? There is a man wanting to kill you both. And he's like, let me just clap her cheeks one more time. Yes. He does get her address and they set off. And once they get there, she's gone through the transformation already. Again, the timelines are not like, what is, they just slept together. She left a few hours ago. And in the time it took them to drive to her, she just, okay, sure. Well, she shows up and attacks both of them and actually has the upper hand over the assassin. So what does Jeremy, the dumbass, do? He kills her. He saves the man that is going to kill them both. You know, not to say that incels are stupid, but... And the fact that the timelines aren't matching is just another example of inconsistencies of the show, like an inconsistent tone, inconsistent pacing, inconsistent length of episodes. Episode 2 was like 25 minutes. Episode 1 and 3 were 45. Inconsistent. The only thing he's consistent is how inconsistent he is, and that's not good. That's actually terrible. Because Jeremy saved Antonio's life, Antonio gives him the choice. Do you want to get shot in the head or the heart? My thank you is I'm not going to torture you for 6 to 8 hours and make you look like a medieval masterpiece. And Jeremy's like, thank you for giving me what I deserve. And then goes on a mini rant about how he's nothing, he's worthless. It's probably why his father left, and he spent his entire life wanting to feel something, and he finally did feel something when he killed someone. Antonio takes pity on him, spares his life, and then asks if he wants to be trained as a killer. Now it's turning into an assassin Big Brother show. Okay, so confusing. What do we do? Antonio then explains that he works for the organization responsible for creating this virus, and naturally this is going to be $1 trillion business because the virus basically super turbocharges the human body at a molecular level. Like, it literally changes you, molecular, cellular, one or the other. It revamps you, turns you into someone new, more attractive, younger, all of the sorts, and it keeps you sort of immortal. Problem is, if the virus starts spreading, then whenever the company actually comes forward and presents it as an actual product, it's not going to be worth that much. So his job is to protect the IP by eliminating anyone walking around looking hot when they should be looking ugly as sin. Jeremy accepts the offer, obviously, because he isn't just an incel. He is an actual psychopath with a darkness inside of him, because we could not go a singular Ryan Murphy show without having at least one character that reveals themselves to have this darkness inside of him that can only be satiated by killing people willy-nilly. No, literally, look up any of his original series and you will find a character that has a darkness inside and just starts killing people for no reason. Cooper eventually tests negative and he is sent to New York to investigate the Vogue incident while the agency continues frantically searching for Jordan. The remains of Harper Rose are at a whopping 180 degrees. Again, unclear if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, but either way, it's really, really hot, and anyone who was in the cafeteria and got hit by projectiles of her body are in quarantine. And that's that so far. And I have thoughts. It's derivative. Like I said, there's a lot of familiar elements like coming together, some better than others, but the show just feels very inconsistent because it doesn't know which tone to go for. Almost like there's a lot of personal styles clashing with each other, trying to, stand out a bit more. I think so far this reads exactly like I expected it to read. It has a really interesting premise, a virus that transforms people into hotter people, and without stabilizers, they literally explode. That's fun. But then he goes on these side quests that nobody gives a shit about, and it just drags on. So yeah, once again, an inconsistent derivative mess, but it's so fun to watch. So if you like his messy shows for how bad they are, like so bad they're good, then highly recommend you watching this. And if you don't, then just stick around and I will bring you the rest of the series on my next video. And that brings me to the end of today's video. So thank you very much if you're still around. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. What's your favorite element so far of the show? Do you also find it very inconsistent? And what are your expectations for the rest of the season? I want to see what happened to Jordan. I want Jordan back on my screen, and I can't believe it's not going to be Rebecca Hall. It's a travesty. It's a crime. Misogyny, really, if you think about it. Ageism in today's day and age. Exactly! That's what I've been saying! And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.